If I told you that your anxiety is not your enemy, but rather a desperate messenger trying to save you from something that doesn't even exist, would you think I'm crazy? Stay with me until the end because I'm going to reveal to you what the ancient masters discovered about this mental agony that consumes millions of people, and how you can turn your greatest torture into your greatest teacher. Before we begin this conversation that could change your relationship with fear forever, subscribe to this channel. Not out of vanity, but because every person who frees themselves from anxiety becomes a beacon of calm in an increasingly turbulent world. You will be part of a silent revolution of human beings who choose peace over panic. My dear anxious friend, first I need to tell you a truth that may shake your beliefs about what's going on in your mind. Your anxiety is not a disease, it's a function. A function that evolved to keep you alive, but is now triggering false alarms 24/7. Imagine your mind is like a home security system. Anxiety is the alarm. Thousands of years ago, when our ancestors heard a noise in the forest, that alarm went off. It could be a tiger, and they ran or fought. The alarm saved lives. But now you live in a house where alarms go off when you think about talking to your boss, when you check your bank accounts, when you imagine what might go wrong tomorrow. Your internal security system is treating thoughts about the future like tigers in the present. And the tragedy is that you have come to believe that the alarm is you. But you are not the anxiety, you are the one observing the anxiety. You are not the anxious thought, you are the one who notices that you are thinking. Let me tell you something that can set you free right now. 99% of the things your anxious mind imagines never happen. And of the 1% that do happen, you discover you are stronger than you imagined to deal with them. Your anxious mind is like a horror movie screenwriter who works 24 hours a day, creating apocalyptic scenarios about situations that don't even exist yet. And the worst part, you watch these mental movies as if they were documentaries about your real life. Think about the last time you were anxious for weeks about something. Was what actually happened as terrible as your mind predicted? More often than not, we find that we spend more energy worrying about the problem than solving it. This isn't a lack of responsibility, it's wisdom. It's understanding the difference between useful preparation and useless worry. Preparation is doing what you can in the present. Worry is worrying in advance about things that may never happen. Now I need to teach you something that can reduce your suffering by half immediately. There is a formula that explains why some people suffer much more than others in similar situations. Suffering equals pain plus pain resistance. Pain is inevitable, it's part of human life. You will face loss, disappointment, uncertainty. But the additional suffering you create by resisting pain, fighting it, despairing because it exists, that suffering is optional. When anxiety hits, your first reaction is, this shouldn't be happening. I need to stop this now. And then you get anxious about being anxious. You get afraid of being afraid. And voila, you've turned one pain into two pains. It's like being in a wave pool. The original wave is the predicament you're facing. But when you fight the wave, when you try to push it away, you create additional waves that make you even more agitated. The secret isn't to eliminate the waves, it's to learn to surf them. It's not to never feel anxiety again, it's to completely change your relationship with it. I'm going to teach you something so simple that you can do it right now while you listen to me. Something that can break the cycle of anxiety in just a few minutes. Your breath is the bridge between your conscious mind and your automatic nervous system. It is the only bodily function that happens on its own, but which you can also consciously control. And therein lies its power. When you're anxious, your breathing becomes short and shallow as if you're getting ready to run. This sends signals to your brain, we're in danger. And your brain responds by producing more anxiety. But you can hack this system. Take a deep breath in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat 4 times. This isn't just relaxation, it's direct communication with your nervous system saying, we are safe. And here's the secret, don't breathe to eliminate anxiety. Breathe to stay present while the anxiety is there. The difference is subtle but revolutionary. Now I'm going to tell you the most powerful paradox about anxiety. It lessens when you stop fighting it. It intensifies when you try to control it. It's like quicksand, the more you fight, the deeper you sink. The more you accept that you're there and stop struggling, the easier it is to get out. Acceptance doesn't mean enjoying anxiety or settling for it forever. It means stopping wasting energy fighting what's already happening and using that energy to respond intelligently. When anxiety comes, and it will because you're human, try this. Hi, anxiety. I see you're here. You're trying to protect me from something. Thank you for your intention. Now let me breathe and think about what I really need to do. Does it sound strange? Does it sound too simple? It's because they've taught you for years that you need to fight your feelings instead of dancing with them. There is a universal truth that can calm your anxious mind faster than any medicine. Everything passes. Absolutely everything. Your anxious mind convinces you that the current suffering is permanent, that the difficult situation will last forever, that you will never be able to cope with it. But look back on your life, how many crises that seemed definitive have already passed? How many ends of the world have you survived? That headache that seemed unbearable is gone. That breakup that felt like the end of your ability to love is gone. That problem at work that kept you awake at night is gone. Even that anxiety you felt yesterday is gone. Where is it now? This isn't cheap positive thinking. It's scientific observation of reality. Everything in nature moves in cycles. Seasons, tides, breathing, heartbeat. Your anxiety is cyclical too. It comes, peaks, and goes away. Always. When you're in the midst of the hurricane of anxiety, remember, this too shall pass. Not because I'm comforting you, but because it's a natural law as certain as gravity. Now I'm going to show you the 3 mental poisons that turn normal worries into chronic anxiety. Knowing them is like having a map of your own destructive patterns. First poison, greed, but not for money. Greed for control, for certainty, for guarantees. Your anxious mind wants to control every outcome, predict every scenario, be certain of everything before acting. But life is uncertain by nature. Wanting total certainty in an uncertain reality is a guaranteed recipe for anxiety. Second poison, aversion, the total rejection of any discomfort. Your anxious mind treats any uncertainty, any risk, any possibility of pain as if it were deadly poison. But trying to avoid all discomfort is trying to avoid life itself. Third poison, delusion, especially the delusion that you can think enough to solve problems that don't yet exist. Your anxious mind believes that by ruminating enough about possible future problems, you're somehow preparing for them. In reality, you're just mentally exhausting yourself. The antidote to the 3 poisons is simple to understand, difficult to practice. Let go of control, accept discomfort as a natural part of life, and distinguish between useful planning and useless worry. I'm going to teach you the most powerful technique I know for dealing with anxiety the moment it arises. Not to eliminate it, but to avoid being dominated by it. When you feel anxiety starting, do this: stop where you are. Literally stop what you're doing. Put your feet on the floor and feel the contact of your feet with the ground. This connects you to the physical present. Now identify, where do you feel the anxiety in your body? In your chest? In your belly? In your throat? Don't try to change it, just locate it. Say mentally, I feel anxiety in my chest, or wherever it is. Breathe into that area of your body, as if you could send breath directly to where it hurts. And notice, does the sensation have defined edges? Does it pulse? Is it hot or cold? Tense or loose? What you're doing is transforming a chaotic emotional experience into a specific physical observation. You're moving from the dramatic story in your mind, it's all going to go wrong, to the concrete reality of your body, I feel tension here. This won't magically make anxiety disappear, but it will make you realize that you can feel anxiety without being destroyed by it, that you are bigger than any feeling that passes through you. Start small. Make a decision today without exhaustively researching every option. Go to a restaurant without reading every online review. Text someone without planning exactly what you're going to say. Practice living with small uncertainties to develop confidence in the big ones. Now I'm going to touch on a wound that you might not even know you have. Your perfectionism, disguised as wanting to do it well, is fueling your anxiety every day. The anxious perfectionist has a cruel logic. If I do everything perfectly, nothing bad will happen. But this logic has a fatal problem. Perfection doesn't exist in the real world. So you live in a constant race toward the impossible. Your perfectionist mindset turns every small task into a matter of life or death. Sending an email becomes, what if I misspelled something and they think I'm incompetent? Being late becomes, what if everyone thinks I'm irresponsible forever? But here's the liberating truth. Balanced people don't do everything perfectly. They do things well enough and move on. They know the difference between excellence, which is possible, and perfection, which is neurotic. Start practicing good enough in small things today. Send that email without rereading it 15 times. Clean the house without every detail being impeccable. Finish that project 80% of the way instead of spending weeks trying to get to the impossible 100%. This isn't mediocrity, it's sanity. It's choosing to live instead of being paralyzed by the pursuit of a perfection that doesn't exist. Your anxious mind thrives on chaos and unpredictability. So I'm going to teach you how to create small islands of calm in the storm of your daily life. First routine, mindful awakening. Instead of reaching for your phone the first second you open your eyes, try this. Before you get up, take 3 deep breaths. Ask your body, how are you feeling today? Set a simple intention. Today I choose to respond rather than react. Second routine, the sacred midday pause. No matter how busy your day is, stop for 2 minutes at 12 p.m., step outside, look at the sky or a window and breathe consciously. This breaks the buildup of tension that turns into anxiety in the afternoon. Third routine, the 6 p.m. check-in. Before you go home or relax, ask yourself, what have I carried from the day that I can let go of now? Visualize literally lifting the weights off your shoulders, the worries, the tensions, the frustrations of the day. Fourth routine, mindful closing. Before bed, instead of scrolling through your Instagram feed, feeding your mind with other people's anxieties, practice active gratitude. Not generic, what am I grateful for, but specific. Today I am grateful for that hug, for that warm meal, for having the strength to deal with that difficult situation. These routines may seem too simple for your complex anxiety. But anxiety thrives on chaos, and these practices create order. They are anchors that remind you that you have control over some things, even when others feel out of control. There's something your anxiety doesn't want you to know. You don't have to carry this weight alone. In fact, carrying it alone is what makes it heavier. Anxiety has a cruel strategy. It convinces you that you're the only one who feels this way, that everyone else has it all together, that sharing your fears will make people reject you. So you isolate yourself, and in the isolation, anxiety grows like a fungus in the darkness. But when you have the courage to say to someone you trust, I'm struggling with anxiety, something magical happens. They almost always respond, me too, or I've been there, or my sister has it, or is there anything I can help you with? You discover that you are not a broken alien in a race of perfect humans. You are a normal human in a species that has always dealt with fear and uncertainty. Find your tribe. It could be a close friend, a support group, a therapist, a healthy online community. Places where you can take off the I'm fine mask and be honest about your struggles. This isn't weakness, it's ancient wisdom. For thousands of years, humans have faced fears in groups. Your individual anxiety diminishes when you realize you're part of a collective humanity that's also learning to navigate uncertainty. Your anxious mind is excellent at creating catastrophic scenarios, but terrible at creating action plans. I'll teach you how to transform this destructive mental energy into constructive planning. When your mind starts with, what if? Instead of panicking, complete the thought, what if that happens, what can I do about it? Turn paralyzing fear into helpful preparation. For example, instead of, what if I lose my job? Followed by 3 hours of anguish, try, what if I lose my job? Well, I could update my resume, talk to industry contacts, research other opportunities, temporarily cut costs. There you go, you've turned anxiety into an action plan. Another example, instead of, what if my relationship ends? Followed by dramatic scenarios, try, what if my relationship ends? I could talk honestly about what's going on, seek professional help if needed, and know that I've survived breakups before. See the difference? In the first case, you're suffering in anticipation without doing anything useful. In the second case, you're using your mental capacity to prepare realistically. This doesn't mean you should plan for disaster. It means that when your mind automatically goes to negative scenarios, you can direct it to solutions instead of letting it dwell on the problem. Now I'm going to teach you the most important thing of all, how to treat yourself in moments of intense anxiety, because the way you talk to yourself in those moments determines whether you will heal or hurt yourself more. When anxiety hits hard, you tend to criticize yourself. Why am I like this? I should be better by now. Everyone can handle this but me. I'm weak, I'm overreacting, I'm problematic. But imagine your best friend came to you in a panic, her heart racing, crying with fear. Would you talk to her like that? Of course not. You would be kind, welcoming, understanding. So why do you treat yourself worse than you would treat your best friend? Why is your inner voice crueler to you than you would be to a stranger on the street? The next time anxiety hits hard, try this. Put your hand on your chest, feel your heart beating, and talk to yourself like you would talk to someone you love. Hey, it's okay. You're going through a hard time, but it will pass. You're human, and humans feel fear sometimes. That doesn't make you any less valuable. It may seem silly at first, but self-compassion is pure medicine for the nervous system. When you stop fighting yourself, you have energy left over to deal with life's real challenges. Now I'm going to reveal to you the secret I promised at the beginning. Your anxiety is not an obstacle on your spiritual path, it is the path. It is your soul calling you to wake up from a life lived on autopilot. Think about it. People who have never experienced deep anxiety rarely question the nature of reality. They rarely stop to ask, who am I beyond my thoughts? What really matters? How can I live more authentically? Your anxiety is like a spiritual fire alarm. It's screaming, wake up. You're living disconnected from who you really are. You're trying to control an uncontrollable universe. You've forgotten that you are much bigger than your fears. The wisest people I have known were not those who never suffered. They were those who transformed their suffering into wisdom, who used their pain as fertilizer to cultivate compassion, who discovered freedom in the center of their mental prison. You have a choice now. You can continue to see your anxiety as an enemy and spend your life running from it, or you can see it as a stern but necessary teacher, preparing you for a life of greater authenticity and peace. This moment, right now as you listen to me, is the most powerful moment of your life. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when you're better. Now. Your mind will try to convince you that it needs more information, more techniques, more time to start relating differently to your anxiety. But this is just another way of procrastinating your own freedom. Take a deep breath with me now. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice that in this moment, while you are here present, anxiety about the future cannot touch you. It only exists when your mind travels to scenarios that do not yet exist. In this present moment, you are safe. In this present moment, you are breathing. In this present moment, you have everything you need to deal with what is before you right now. Freedom from anxiety is not a destination you reach. It is a way of being you practice. And it can begin right now, in this breath, in this moment of mindful presence. I'm going to tell you something that could change everything. The alternative to living with anxiety is not living without feeling anything. It's living with a completely open heart, feeling everything, but without being dominated by anything. People who never feel anxiety sometimes never feel anything deeply. Their capacity to feel fear intensely is the same capacity that can feel love intensely, joy intensely, compassion intensely. Don't become a cured person who has lost the ability to care deeply. Become a person who feels everything fully, but who has developed the wisdom to navigate the intensity without drowning in it. When you accept that feeling is part of being alive, when you stop fighting your own humanity, something miraculous happens. You discover that you can feel fear and act courageously. You can feel uncertainty and still take steps forward. You can feel anxiety and still live fully. This is real freedom, not the absence of difficult feelings, but the presence of wisdom to dance with them rather than be trampled by them. If you've made it this far, it means your soul is ready for a new way of living. Ready to stop being a victim of your own thoughts and become the wise observer of your own experience. The next time anxiety comes to visit you, and it will, because you're human, I want you to remember this conversation. I want you to take a deep breath and say, "Hi, old friend. I see you're worried about me. Thank you for caring. Now let me show you that I've learned to ride the waves instead of being swept away by them." Your anxiety is not a manufacturing defect. It is not a sign that you are weak or broken. It is proof that you are a sensitive, intelligent human being who cares deeply about life. And these are precious qualities in a world that sometimes seems to have lost the ability to feel. The world needs people like you, people who feel deeply, who question, who don't settle for superficial answers. People who have transformed their anxiety into wisdom, their fear into compassion, their vulnerability into strength. You're not broken and waiting to be fixed. You're a whole person learning to relate to your own emotions more wisely. And every step on this journey makes you not only freer, but also more human. Now answer me one thing in the comments. After everything we've talked about, what's the first thing you'll do differently the next time you feel anxious? Which of these practices will you try today? And tell me also, what is your anxiety trying to teach you about your life? What message does it carry that you haven't stopped to listen to yet? If this conversation touched your heart in any way, if it planted a seed of hope where before there was only despair, share this video with someone who is also struggling. Because healing shared is healing multiplied. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, not for me but for you. So that whenever you need to remember that you are bigger than your fears, that you are wiser than your anxious thoughts, you have a place to come back to. Until we meet again, remember, you are not alone on this journey. And your anxiety, however painful, is calling you to a more authentic, more conscious and freer life. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Namaste.